Welcome back to the channel, Rarest Coins, where pocket change becomes treasure, and we dive deep into the hidden value of coins that millions of people use every day without realizing what they're holding. Today, we're looking at one of the most iconic coins in American history, the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter, also known as the Bicentennial Quarter. Now I know what you're thinking. Everyone has seen this coin. You've probably used one to pay for a soda, tossed one in a tip jar, or maybe even have a few collecting dust in a drawer. They seem common. But here's the truth. One of these bicentennial quarters has been valued at an unbelievable $1.9 million. That's right, one quarter, 25 cents, potentially worth nearly $2 million. Let's break down how that's even possible. First, let's rewind the clock and talk about the history behind this quarter. In 1976, the United States celebrated its bicentennial, 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776. To honor the occasion, the U.S. Mint created special designs for the quarter, the half dollar, and the dollar coin. These weren't just regular coins with different dates. They featured unique artwork that set them apart from every other coin in circulation. Instead of the usual eagle on the back of the Washington quarter, the bicentennial version featured a colonial drummer and a torch surrounded by 13 stars. On the front, George Washington still stands proud, but the date reads 1776 to 1976, marking the 2 centuries of American freedom. These coins were minted in both 1975 and 1976, but every single one bears the dual date. So if you've got a quarter with 1776 to 1976 on it, yes, it's a bicentennial quarter. Now, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of these quarters, so most of them are only worth their face value. However, a very small number are worth far more, and here's where it gets exciting. There were special bicentennial quarters struck in 40% silver. These were not released into general circulation. They were sold in special collector sets known as silver proof and silver uncirculated sets. If your bicentennial quarter came from one of these sets and has never been handled or circulated, it could be worth a lot more than 25 cents. But even that doesn't come close to $1.9 million. What makes one bicentennial quarter worth nearly $2 million? Let me tell you the story. Some time ago, a very rare bicentennial quarter was discovered with a combination of features that made it truly one of a kind. This coin was struck on a 90% silver planchet in error, even though official records stated that only 40% silver versions were made for collectors. On top of that, it was a double die obverse, which means the front of the coin had a visible doubling of the image due to a misalignment during the minting process. This type of error is highly prized by collectors, but there's more. This specific coin was also in pristine condition, professionally graded as MS-70. That stands for Mint State 70, the absolute highest grade a coin can receive. This means the coin has 0 imperfections under magnification. That's rarer than rare. Combine a one-of-a-kind error with a flawless condition and a historic design, and what do you get? A coin so desirable. It sold at a private auction for $1.9 million. That's why serious collectors will pay top dollar for a coin that seems ordinary at first glance. Now, the big question. Could you have one of these valuable quarters in your own collection? Here's what to look for. First, check the date. It must say 1776 to 1976. That's the bicentennial quarter. Second, check the edge of the coin. If you see copper showing through on the edge, it's the standard clad version. But if the edge is solid silver in color with no copper stripe, it could be a 40% silver version, or possibly something even more unusual. Third, weigh the coin. A regular bicentennial quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. The 40% silver version weighs a bit more, closer to 5.75 grams. If it weighs significantly more, it could be struck on a different planchet by mistake. Fourth, check for doubling. Use a magnifying glass and carefully inspect the words on the front of the coin, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see clear signs of doubling, it could be a double die, and that adds serious value. Fifth, consider the condition. If your coin looks like it just left the mint with no scratches or wear, it might be worth getting graded by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. The cost to grade a coin is small compared to the possible return if you're sitting on a rare find. Even if you don't have $1 million coin, There are plenty of bicentennial quarters selling for impressive amounts. High-grade silver-proof versions can sell for $100 to $500. Double-die errors can go for thousands. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other unusual mistakes can add hundreds more. And here's a bonus tip. Some bicentennial quarters were struck at the San Francisco Mint and have an S mint mark. If you see an S below the colonial drummer, that's a sign you might be holding a special collector version, SO, before you toss. That's 1776 to 1976 quarter in your change jar. Take a second look. You could be holding a piece of American history, and maybe even a small fortune. That's it for today's video. If you learned something new or you're excited to go coin hunting, give this video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into the world of rare coins. Drop a comment below and let me know if you've got any bicentennial quarters in your collection or if you've ever found a rare coin in your pocket change. Who knows, your next trip to the gas station might just make you a millionaire. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy collecting. Let me know if you want this converted into a voiceover-ready version with pauses and emphasis, or if you need a thumbnail title and description to go with your video. Welcome back to the channel that helps you turn everyday pocket change into real treasure, Rarest Coins. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just someone who enjoys the thrill of discovering hidden value in something ordinary, you're in the right place. Because today, we're diving into the incredible story of the 1965 Washington Quarter, a coin that most people overlook, yet one rare version of it has been valued at an unbelievable $1.7 million. That's right. A coin you might have in your pocket right now, a simple 25-cent piece from 1965, could be worth a fortune, but only if you know what to look for. So sit back, relax, and let's break down the history, the hidden details, the rare errors, and the reasons why a 1965 quarter could end up being one of the most valuable coins in the world. Let's begin with the history. The year 1965 marked a major turning point in American coinage. Up until 1964, U.S. quarters were made from 90% silver. But due to rising silver prices and coin hoarding across the country, the U.S. Mint made a drastic decision. Starting in 1965, quarters would no longer be made of silver. Instead, they would be struck on a new copper-nickel-clad planchet. This was the beginning of the modern era for U.S. coins, and the 1965 quarter became the first of its kind, the first U.S. quarter produced without any silver content. Over 1.8 billion of these quarters were struck that year, making it one of the most common coins in American history. In fact, because of the coin shortage at the time, the Mint didn't even use mint marks in 1965. So all 1965 quarters look almost identical on the surface. But as you'll see in a moment, that doesn't mean they're all equal. So where does the incredible $1.7 million value come from? Let's talk about one extremely rare and controversial version of the 1965 Washington Quarter. According to multiple coin experts and collectors, a small number of 1,965 quarters were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets, blanks that were supposed to be phased out completely after 1964. This mistake happened during the transition period when the U.S. Mint was switching over to the new copper-nickel material. Now imagine this. You have a coin from 1965, but instead of being clad with copper and nickel, it's struck on a 90% silver planchet from 1964. That alone makes the coin a major rarity. But the story doesn't end there. In one particular case, a 1965 quarter struck on a silver planchet was discovered in near-perfect condition. It was professionally graded at the highest level of preservation, MS68, or Mint State 68. That grade is extremely rare for a coin over 50 years old. Combine that with a transitional error and a historical minting change, and you've got the perfect storm. That coin was eventually auctioned off in a private sale for a mind-blowing $1.7 million. So how do you know if you have one of these rare and valuable coins? Here's what to look for. First, check the date. It must say 1965. If it says anything else, you're dealing with a different coin. Now, remember, all 1965 quarters were issued without a mint mark, so don't expect to see one. Second, check the coin's weight. This is where things get interesting. A regular 1965 quarter struck on a copper-nickel-clad planchet should weigh about 5.67 grams. But a 1965 quarter mistakenly struck on a silver planchet will weigh closer to 6.25 grams. You'll need a precise digital scale to measure this correctly, but that small difference could be the key to discovering a life-changing coin. Third, Examine the edge of the coin. A standard clad quarter will show a brownish copper stripe running around the edge. That's the copper core showing through. But a silver quarter will have a solid, shiny edge with no copper visible. If you find a 1965 quarter that has a silver edge, weigh it immediately. That could be a huge red flag in a good way. Fourth, look at the color and luster. Silver coins tend to have a different shine and tone than clad coins. A silver coin has more of a flat gray-white appearance, while clad coins usually look slightly more golden or grayish with a hint of orange on the edge. You don't have to be an expert to notice the difference once you've seen it a few times. And finally, the condition. Even if your coin is struck on a silver planchet, its value can be significantly affected by its condition. Coins with scratches, wear, or heavy circulation damage are still worth money, but they won't bring in top dollar. If your coin looks crisp, shows full details, and hasn't been cleaned or damaged, it may be worth submitting to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A high grade, combined with a rare minting error, could send the value skyrocketing. Even beyond the million-dollar coin, some 1965 quarters with minor errors or in mint state condition have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Off-center strikes, die cracks, double die errors, and misaligned dies have all been found on 1965 quarters, and these collectible varieties are highly sought after. So, before you spend that 1965 quarter on your next coffee or drop it in a tip jar, take a closer look. You might be holding a piece of American history and possibly a coin worth more than most people earn in a year. That wraps up today's video. The 1965 Washington quarter is a true example of how history, minting mistakes, and a little bit of luck can turn an ordinary coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and be sure to subscribe for more content on rare coins, valuable finds, and the hidden stories behind everyday money. Drop a comment below and let me know if you've ever found a 1965 quarter that looked unusual, or if you're planning to check your coin stash right after this video. Who knows? Your next find might just be the one that changes your life. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy hunting and keep your eyes on your change. If you'd like a matching YouTube title, thumbnail idea, or video description that helps boost your SEO and views, just let me know. Welcome back to the channel, Rarest Coins, where we uncover the hidden treasures in your pocket change and explore the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. If you've ever come across a Washington quarter and wondered if it might be worth more than 25 cents, you're going to want to watch this video all the way through. Because today, we're diving into the story of the 1997 D Washington quarter dollar, a coin that looks ordinary on the surface, but one rare example has been valued at an incredible $1.2 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.2 million for a single quarter. Let's break it down. First, let's talk about the basics of the 1997 D Washington quarter. This coin was struck at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the small letter D just above the date on the front of the coin. In 1997, the U.S. Mint produced over 599 million of these quarters in Denver alone. That makes this a very common coin in general circulation. So how can something so common become so incredibly valuable? Well, the answer lies in errors, varieties, and condition. But before we get into that, let's take a step back and understand a little bit of history about the Washington Quarter series. The Washington Quarter was first issued in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. It replaced the Standing Liberty Quarter and was only intended to be a one-year commemorative coin. However, it was so popular that the U.S. Mint decided to continue producing it year after year. The design stayed mostly the same until the State Quarters program launched in 1999. Now fast forward to 1997, the last year before the new State Quarters would begin circulation. Millions of these quarters were produced, but like in many mass production processes, mistakes can happen. And that's where things get interesting. There have been several known errors in Washington quarters, from off-center strikes to double dies, missing mint marks, and planchet errors. In the case of the 1997 D quarter, there's a specific coin that stands out, and this is where the million-dollar price tag comes in. According to numismatic experts and collectors, there was one extremely rare 1997 D quarter that was struck on a 90% silver planchet, something that was not supposed to happen in 1997. You see, by this time, all regular quarters were being struck on clad planchets, which are composed of copper and nickel. But somehow, a leftover silver blank from an earlier commemorative coin made its way into the press, and a 1997 D. Washington quarter was struck on it. That alone would make the coin rare and highly collectible. But this particular coin was also in pristine condition, graded MS 68 by a top grading service. MS stands for mint state, and a grade of 68 means the coin is nearly perfect, with only the tiniest imperfections. That level of quality, combined with the rare silver planchet error, made this coin one of a kind. It went on to sell at a private auction for over $1.2 million. Now, I know what you're thinking. Could you have one of these $1 million quarters sitting in your pocket right now? Let's find out what to look for. First, check the date. It needs to be 1997, with a D mint mark. Second, weigh the coin. A regular 1997 D quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. But if your quarter is struck on a silver planchet, it will weigh closer to 6.25 grams. That tiny difference could be a massive clue. Third, examine the edge of the coin. Modern quarters have a visible copper core on the edge. If yours appears solid silver with no copper showing, that could be another sign it's on a silver planchet. And fourth, the condition. Coins with fewer scratches and more original luster are always worth more. So if your 1997 D quarter looks like it just came out of a mint roll, you may want to have it professionally graded, even if your coin isn't worth $1 million. Some 1997 D quarters with minor errors or in high-grade condition can sell for anywhere from $10 to hundreds of dollars. Double die errors, repunched mint marks, or even coins struck slightly off-center can bring in good money from collectors. Now here's a pro tip. If you have a scale that can measure grams accurately and a good magnifying glass, you can go through your change at home and hunt for these rare coins. It's a fun hobby and, as you can see, it might even be worth it. There you have it. The 1997 D. Washington quarter, a coin you've probably held dozens of times without a second thought. And yet in one rare case, it turned into a $1 million treasure. It's a powerful reminder that even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary stories and value. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Drop a comment below if you found any interesting coins lately or if you're planning to check your stash after watching this. Who knows? Maybe you've got a fortune hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy coin hunting. Would you like this script adapted for voiceover pacing or turned into a shorter TikTok-style version as well? Welcome back to the channel where we turn pocket change into potential gold mines. If you're into rare coins, collecting, or just curious about what treasures might be hiding in your wallet or coin jar, then stay tuned. Because today, we're looking at the 2021 P. Washington quarter dollar, and believe it or not, one rare example of this modern coin has reportedly sold for a staggering $1.1 million. That's right. One of the most recent quarters minted in the United States, a coin still found in circulation today, has become one of the most talked about pieces in numismatic circles. So how is it possible that a coin you could pull from pocket change could be worth more than a luxury car or even a house? Let's break it down and explore the story, the history, and most importantly, what you need to look for to know if you might be holding one of these rare treasures. Let's start with the basics. In 2021, the United States Mint continued its long tradition of striking Washington quarters. But 2021 was no ordinary year for quarters. It marked a major design shift. The coin featured a brand new reverse design as part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program coming to an end, and the new American Women Quarters program about to begin, specifically the 2021 P quarter we're talking about here is the Tuskegee Airmen National Historic Site quarter, the last release in the America the Beautiful series. The front of the coin still shows the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. But the reverse side is what stands out. It features a striking image of a Tuskegee Airman pilot, looking toward the sky with two P-51 Mustangs flying overhead. This design honors the legendary group of African-American pilots who fought in World War II and changed American military history. Now the P Mint mark on this quarter tells us it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The Philadelphia Mint produced more than 200 million of these quarters, which means they're not rare in general. But in the world of coins, it's not just the date and mint that matter. It's what's unusual, the errors, the misstrikes, the unique features that can turn a common coin into a 6 or even 7-figure payday. What's the story behind the 2021 P quarter that reportedly sold for $1.1 million? It all comes down to a combination of extreme rarity, minting error, and pristine condition, according to collectors and auction records. One specific 2021 P. Washington quarter was struck on a transitional planchet. This means that the coin was minted using the wrong metal blank. In this case, the quarter was mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination, possibly a silver dime or a foreign coin blank, resulting in a unique weight, color, and finish. In addition, this coin showed signs of a dramatic double die error, where the images on the coin, including the date and lettering, appeared twice, slightly shifted. This happens when the coin is struck more than once due to a misalignment during the minting process. Double die coins are extremely popular with collectors, especially when the doubling is clear and dramatic. But that's not all. This particular quarter was also submitted to a top grading service and received an almost unheard of grade, MS70, which stands for Mint State 70. That means the coin was in flawless condition, with no scratches, no signs of wear, and a perfect strike. This kind of condition, combined with a rare planchet and double die error, made the coin unique, literally one of a kind. And that's why when this coin hit the auction block, serious collectors didn't hesitate. The final price? $1.1 million. Now, of course, most 2021 P quarters are not worth anywhere near that much. The average one in your pocket is still worth face value, 25 cents. But there are still valuable ones out there if you know what to look for. So here's how you can check your own 2021 P. Washington quarters for potential value. First, check the reverse design. It should feature the Tuskegee Airmen, with the phrase, "They fought 2 wars," inscribed near the bottom. Make sure it has the P Mint mark, indicating it was made in Philadelphia. Next, weigh the coin. A normal 2021 quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If yours weighs significantly more or less, it might have been struck on the wrong planchet, and that could be a huge clue. Third, look closely at the lettering on both sides. If you see any doubling in the words, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or "United States of America," then you may have a double die error. These can be valuable even without other errors. Fourth, examine the condition. If your coin looks brand new, shows full detail, and has no scratches or signs of wear, you might have a high-grade specimen. Coins in MS65 condition or higher can fetch good money, especially with errors. And finally, consider getting the coin graded. If you think you have something special, don't try to clean it. That can destroy its value. Instead, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A small investment in grading could bring you big rewards if your coin turns out to be rare. Even outside of the $1 million example, some 2021 P. Washington quarters with strong double die errors or in mint state condition have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The key is knowing what to look for and being patient. So, what can we take away from this story? The 2021 P. Washington quarter might seem like just another coin in your change, but in rare cases, it can be worth a fortune. The combination of design, history, and minting errors makes it a fascinating piece of modern numismatic history. And as that $1.1 million sale shows, even coins from the 21st century can reach legendary status. Thanks for watching today's video. If you found this helpful or inspiring, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into rare and valuable coins. Drop a comment below if you've checked your 2021 quarters or if you've ever found a strange or rare coin. I'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, keep checking your change. You never know what treasure might be hiding in plain sight. Let me know if you'd like help creating a video title, thumbnail text, and description optimized for YouTube search and clicks. Welcome back to the channel that turns everyday pocket change into possible treasure. If you're new here, we explore the incredible stories and hidden values behind U.S. coins that millions of people handle every day without ever realizing what they've got. And today, we're talking about a coin that might surprise you, the 1990 P. Washington quarter. That's right. This is a quarter that most people wouldn't think twice about. But one rare example of this coin has been valued at an astonishing $1.3 million. That's a 25-cent coin potentially worth more than a sports car, more than most people's homes, and certainly more than what it was made for. So how is that possible? What makes the 1990 P. Washington quarter so special? And how can you tell if you have one of these rare and incredibly valuable coins? Stick around, because we're going to break down the history, the minting details, the known errors, and the rare conditions that could turn your everyday quarter into a life-changing find. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932. It was originally introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The coin was supposed to be a one-year special issue, but it was so popular that it became the standard quarter design and remained that way for decades. By 1990, the design hadn't changed much. On the front of the coin, you'll see a portrait of George Washington. On the reverse, you'll see the classic eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows and olive branches, a design that was used from 1932 all the way through 1998. The 1990 P. Washington quarter was minted in Philadelphia, and the P Mint mark appears just above the date. The U.S. Mint struck over 613 million of these quarters in Philadelphia alone. That means the coin is generally very common. You'll still find it in circulation today. But as every seasoned coin collector knows, it's not just about how many were made. It's about what went wrong during production or what rare features might have made a few of those coins worth an absolute fortune. And that's exactly what happened with one special 1990 P. Washington quarter. According to numismatic reports and private auction records, a single example of this coin was discovered with a jaw-dropping set of features. First, it was struck on a planchet made of 90% silver, a metal composition that had not been used for standard quarters since 1964. In 1990, all regular circulating quarters were made from a clad composition of copper and nickel. That means this coin was likely struck using an old or incorrect blank that somehow made its way into the minting process. Next, the coin featured a dramatic double die obverse. This means that the front of the coin, where George Washington's portrait and the date are shown, had clearly visible doubling in the lettering, particularly in the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Double die errors like this are highly collectible, and the more noticeable the doubling, the higher the value. But the final factor that made this coin nearly priceless was its condition. It was professionally graded as MS70, that's Mint State 70, which means it was in perfect condition with no flaws under 5x magnification. Getting a perfect score from a grading company like PCGS or NGC is extremely rare, especially on a coin more than 30 years old. All of these factors came together to make one of the most desirable Washington quarters ever found. When this unique 1990 P quarter crossed the auction block, collectors were shocked. The final price tag? $1.3 million. So the question is, could there be more out there? Could someone watching this video right now have a coin worth a life-changing amount of money sitting in their coin jar, tucked in a drawer, or hiding in plain sight? Here's what to look for. First, check the date. The coin needs to say 1990 and have a P Mint mark above the date. That tells you it was minted in Philadelphia. Next, examine the edge of the coin. A standard 1990 P quarter should have a copper core visible on the edge. If your coin's edge appears completely silver and does not show the typical orange-brown copper layer, it could have been struck on a silver planchet, and that's a major red flag worth investigating. Third, weigh the coin. Use a precise digital scale. A normal 1990 quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. A silver planchet version would weigh slightly more, closer to 6.25 grams. If your coin weighs unusually high or low, that's a clue something unusual is going on. Fourth, grab a magnifying glass and check the front of the coin carefully. Look at the word Liberty, the motto In God We Trust, and the date. If you notice any doubling, where the letters or numbers appear doubled or shadowed, you could be looking at a double die obverse. These are rare and valuable, especially if the doubling is strong and easy to see without advanced equipment. Finally, check the condition. Coins in mint state, especially those with full luster, no scratches, and strong strike details, are always more valuable. Even if your coin doesn't have a major error, a high-grade 1990 P quarter could still be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars if it's graded MS67 or higher. If you think your coin has potential, don't clean it. Cleaning a coin destroys its natural surface and can dramatically reduce its value. Instead, store it safely and consider sending it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They will authenticate and grade your coin professionally. And don't forget, other rare errors have been reported on 1990 quarters too, such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and even die cracks. These can also bring in serious money from collectors who specialize in mint errors. There you have it. The 1990 P. Washington quarter, a coin that most people wouldn't think twice about, but one rare example of which has become one of the most valuable quarters ever discovered. selling for $1.3 million. It's proof that hidden gems can be found in the most ordinary places. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video or learned something new, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about rare and valuable coins. Drop a comment below if you found any interesting coins recently, or if you're going to start checking your change a little more carefully. You never know, you might be sitting on a treasure without even realizing it. Until next time, happy collecting and good luck on your next coin hunt. Let me know if you'd like a shorter version for YouTube Shorts or TikTok, or if you want a title and description to help your video rank better.